Hi everyone, and welcome to our live stream. I hope you can hear me and see me okay. If you can, leave us a comment, tell us where you are in the world, tell us where you're watching from, and just come and say hi, because obviously we'd love to hear from you. So my name's Lorraine, and I'm the director of Formula Botanica. We are the online award-winning and accredited organic cosmetic science school. And tonight, well, it may not be night where you are, I know it's afternoon for our guest, but tonight here in the UK, I'm hosting a very special live stream with our graduate, Jessy Furniel, who's in Florida, USA, and who runs Adélie Skincare. So welcome, Jessy. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Hi, Lorraine. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for having me over. I feel so honored.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here. I have been watching Jessy online for, well, about a year now, and she is super visible and doing amazing things with her brand. So we wanted to bring you a live stream tonight where you could speak to a Formula Botanica graduate who has gone through the courses and has launched their own skincare brand. So as you may know, enrollment opened for our summer term today, this morning, and we have already enrolled hundreds and hundreds of new students around the world, which has been slightly overwhelming and really exciting, not helped by the fact that the internet broke for about 20 minutes this afternoon. You may have noticed like websites went down all over the world. It wasn't just us, it was literally everywhere, so that wasn't great. But we're still going strong and we're still welcoming lots and lots of new students into our community. So we wanted to host this live stream so that if you have a question about a course or you have a question about what it's like to study at Formula Botanica, you could actually talk to someone who's been there and done it. Because I can tell you that it's awesome to study here, which it obviously is. But, you know, it's better to hear it from someone who's actually walked in your shoes and gone there before you. So if you have any questions tonight, just put them in the chat box and I will be able to highlight some of them as we go through. I can see some questions coming or some comments coming up already. We've got people watching from all over the world, I think, which is quite exciting. And I will highlight any questions that you have for Jessy or any that you have for me and Formula Botanica, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. So use the opportunity that you have with us being here live to ask any burning questions that you have. So I thought maybe we could start off by introducing you, Jessy, and learning a bit more about you and your story. So could you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yes, everyone. Well, I am Jessie. I'm the founder and formulator of Adélie, a Latina-owned open organic skincare line all about empowering women to challenge ageism by confidently embracing their evolving skin. At the age of 35, we just keep getting better, just like fine wine. So that's pretty much how I crafted Adélie to represent and empower everyone that resonates with our message.
I love that. We're like a fine wine. Well, I'm 40 now, so I certainly feel that way.
It feels amazing, though. Like, no, I was 20 once upon a time, and it's all good. There's beauty in every different stage, and we're transforming constantly. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was only 20 yesterday. You know, it was
there you go. Yes, yes, yes.
So let's start at the top. So you basically decided one day you woke up and you thought, I want to start a skincare brand. And how did that happen? What happened?
Well, what happened was my husband, I drove him crazy of a vision. So my early stage into like botanical skincare actually came about when I became a mother of my first daughter. She developed eczema as a baby. And it's very common to have a life experience affect us to really shift and see other alternatives. And that's pretty much what pushed me into DIYing. But what I found after DIYing, yes, the long-term results on my daughter's skin health, along with lifestyle changes, improved. Up to this day, she doesn't have suffered from eczema. So it's been like, wow, what a validation 8 years later that yes, botanical skincare products can complement your wellness. And based on that and doing it as a hobby, I just simply discovered that I was really loving it. I'm like, wow. But then I was missing the actual professional education behind it to just go to the next level and make this my life's calling as a professional career. And that's when I decided to stop DIYing. I discovered you through a blog from Sarita Corin, I believe, quite a few years ago. And Formula Botanica was new. And I'm like, this is exactly what I'm looking at. So I kept an eye looking at Formula Botanica, seeing what they were offering, and really waiting to be ready. And I feel that there's a moment in time when it's just like the right time, the right place. And it so happened that while I was taking a break from the hobby, I was in Germany, and I told my husband, like, I have to take this course. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to take this course. I can't stop thinking about it. It's like, okay, go for it. And once I started my education, I started to recognize the distinction of my vision from what's available in the market. Since I had already familiarized myself with the green beauty industry since 2015, I was able to actually identify there is room for me. And so again, I told my husband, like, maybe I should go back and keep on my little Etsy shop. And maybe in a year, I'll create this brand. And he was like, no. What do you need? Let's make this happen. Why are you going to dedicate yourself on something that's obviously not fulfilling your vision? And why not just dedicate this time and intention to actually create, at the time, there was no name for it, but this vision. I'm like, okay, this is an X amount of the money that I would need. He's like, I have your back. Don't look for investors or anything. We're going to, rather than put it aside for a house, we're going to put it aside for this business. And I've got your back. So that's pretty much like the root, how Adélie started. And like a mother, we usually take care of our children first. And so I decided, well, this time it's about women just like me, that we don't have a lot of time to do multiple steps, that we don't want the fluff. I just want efficacy and results. Mm-hmm. And with my background from hospitality, I'm like, I like that white gloves experience, that refined. I want people to feel transported. I wanted to feel as that moment in time in your day that you escape from reality because you're intentionally taking care of your skin and your wellness, and you're just letting your mind free. I get just so inspired just saying that. And so Adélie came about, and so it's been like 3 years since that conversation. Then I'm like, okay, now I need to name it. Couldn't find name. And Adélie is a merge of my two daughters' name, Amélie and Adèle. They're both spelled in French because my husband's last name is in French. And so it's like, I always get choked up when I say the meaning behind Adélie, because it was motherhood what showed me the power that I have within me that I didn't even know existed. Empowerment and dedication behind it from both a consumer, a formulator, but as an ally to everyone who resonates with Adélie.
Oh, what an amazing story. And how wonderful that you have your husband's support and so much passion behind you, because I think that's very special, actually. And I think that will really help you make your business a huge success.
Thank you
for your story. And it's also interesting to hear about how you named your brand after your daughters. And I hear this a lot from people in our community, because they're often inspired by their family members, by their relatives, by people who they feel so passionate about and who they love so much that they want to name their brand after them. So that's really lovely. So,
yeah, I really want them to actually, I'm sorry, I tend to cut people off. Oh gosh. But being a stay-at-home mother, I want that mommy can fulfill her. I want them to feel inspired to, yes, you can fulfill your dreams, you can have a vision and achieve them without compromising your values. So that's pretty much like the other side why Adélie is so important for me, because I want them to see that it's possible to do it as however it works for you. And this is how it worked for me and my family.
So let's frame a little bit where you are at the moment before we start talking about which courses you took. So where are you right now with Adélie? When did you launch? You know, how many products? What's happening?
Oh, wow. So I officially launched on March 1st of this year. So we are in our not even first year. I did a soft launch back in December 2018 with our mini discovery kits, which are 1 milliliters of each one of our 2 products. I launched with 2 a day serum and a night serum. And they're both oil-based formulations. And then I did in January a pre-launch where I started doing pre-ordering for a full size. And a week before March 1st, I decided, I'm like, I am done getting ready. I'm just launching. I'm very spontaneous. So it just so happened that the very morning that it was March 1st, I learned about the Beauty Shortlist Award, that we were selected among the editor's choice for our day serum. So it just started like more than with the right foot. It was just like super validation. I'm like, there you go. There was a reason why. And I didn't know. I applied in September of last year. And I didn't know that on that day, it would coincide. I completely forgot about that, honestly. Like, I know it's coming and it's coming. But it was like double celebration. I'm like, I think I'm doing something good. Might be the universe telling me, yes, Jessie. Yeah. Good job.
Love it. Yes. So you launched on March 1st this year with 2 products, and you have these amazing serums, and I haven't tried them yet, but I'm sure I will at some point, and they look gorgeous. So where are you selling right now?
Currently, I am mostly online. I have benefited tremendously doing pop-ups with, how do you call this? I'm trying to use the right word. Where the brand fits with the existing clientele. So I've done pop-ups at small boutiques, higher end boutiques locally here in Tampa, which is where I'm based. And it has also helped me to get that immediate feedback, to get that. It's much easier for me to have an in-person conversation because I can see your reaction. I can right away answer whatever query you may have. And it's just easier to have that personal contact. And online, it's great to see that returning clients, which are growing, which is great because you're like, well, one thing, they come. The tricky part is, do they come again? And on internet, it's very saturated. So it's a bit challenging navigating, doing ads. There's a whole new skill set to do successful ads and a good investment, or not such a good investment if not done properly. And so pop-ups have been tremendous, plus loads and loads of networking where I can actually expand my reach and my brand awareness and my name as an entrepreneur as well. So that has helped Adélie to create that initial brand awareness, slow and steady, but it's been instrumental for us, for me.
Well, it certainly made you very visible, because I have certainly watched you. You've been doing a lot of public speaking, which has been really impressive to watch. I've seen photos of all the pop-ups you've done. You know, it's fantastic. And also, you know, we recently launched our diploma in beauty brand business management last week. In fact, that was a bit like birthing a child.
Yes, and every time.
So what I say in that course is, for you to be successful as a skincare entrepreneur, you have to be visible and you have to be connecting with people. And selling online is certainly an option, but you have to get that first hurdle done first, where you can actually connect with people face to face. And I think you're doing that exceptionally well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Right. So we've already got a couple of questions.
Oh la la.
Oh, there you go. Here's the first one from Jacqueline. Let's see if I can actually show this one. Here we go. Very interesting story. And Jacqueline says, it seems easier as a stay-at-home mum. What recommendations do you have for working formulators for people who aren't at home?
It has helped me to have a discipline, especially with my children, to know I have a non-kid zone. Let's put it that way. They know that that's mommy's room. Yes, they can come, and they usually like to put on labels on the mini kits or where it's okay for them to come. But having a schedule of what works for me, I think that what may work for me may be different what works for you, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. And for me, Monday to Friday is when I answer emails. That's when I'm most active. And I don't feel bad if weekend comes and I am not completely on Instagram, which is the platform that that's most engaging for me. I feel okay because I'm a mom first. So that has been helpful for me to keep that. I also have a support system of other entrepreneurs, well, I can vent and brainstorm of existing challenges, because it's our partner sometimes share and not necessarily understand our business because they're in a different field, and it's just like saturating for them to hear the same story. But having somebody else who's also a business owner, may or may not be in the same industry, it's very helpful, because not only can you brainstorm and share thoughts, but a different fresh perspective can just let you know, I'm like, oh, I'm just overthinking that, maybe I should just give it a try, or maybe let me sleep on it. So again, it's finding what works best for you. Some people love waking up super early. I am not a morning person till 8 years after being a mother. So I'm like in the middle of the day, I have my schedule where I do most of my meeting. Usually for me, it's like in the middle of the day. That's when it's best for me. And so again, there's always exceptions of sometimes, but having that support system right now, like my parents are looking after my children, so I cannot be interrupted. Usually my husband is looking after them. So you do need support. It's crucial, because we tend as mothers to feel like we're octopus. We can do it all, but the reality is that we get burned, and then we're not our best for nobody. So you find your own balance of what works. It's possible.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I mean, I have 2 young kids. In fact, they're currently sat in the living room, and they're under strict instructions not to make any noise while mummy's on the live stream.
Right. Unless they start picking, like, you're done, mommy, now.
I think the bigger problem might be the cat trying to get in. But no, there is no right or wrong solution. There is no best or worst solution. You know, you deal with the situation you're in. And some women are stay-at-home mothers, others have a side hustle and they have a day job. And it's hard to juggle everything basically at once. But you have to be very passionate about where you're going. Yeah. And if you have that passion within you, and I mean, pretty much everyone in the Formula Botanica community seems to have that desire to grow a business that's bigger than themselves, then you find a way of making it happen somehow.
If there is a will, there is a way. It's truly true. But also keep compassion. I feel that as women, we are just so hard on ourselves. Like, just be compassionate. It's okay. Sometimes done is better than perfect. And that's usually, you get way more done just being compassionate on that mindset.
That is very true. So you, let's go back again. So you decided you were going to start this business. You were super excited about it. You'd seen Formula Botanica, and then you enrolled with us. So which courses have you enrolled for?
So I initially finished the organic skincare formulation diploma. So I opening from the DIY unknowing basis so much. And so far it has been instrumental for me to expand where to research, how to identify myths from fact, and also open up my perspective to not just be so close-minded. I feel that with the support of our classroom and our instructors, and goodness, Lorraine, well, you have facilitators, girl. You're amazing. You're amazing. It's been crucial to actually have a little bit more empathy and not be so harsh to be such a Puritan, because that's usually a tendency that I do see in the green beauty industry here in USA. It's very extremist, and there's room for everybody. And that having that open-mindedness and understanding where each brand or formulation is coming from has been crucial to identify where I fit in and how to respect those other businesses as well.
Yes, I completely agree. You know, the green beauty industry needs to lift each other up. Yes. And that's very important. And that's certainly something that we try and foster in our community, because we don't view the students in there as being in competition with each other, because everyone has their own niche and they sit in their own place. And that means you might be targeting a completely different customer type, and you might be in a completely different country, and you might have a completely different story and make completely different products. So yes, yeah, we try and get people to look at each other as friends and partners rather than competitors. And I think that's worked quite well, because there is space for everyone. And yes, I agree that that Puritan outlook of you must do this, otherwise you're doing it wrong, it doesn't help anyone at the end of the day.
No, it doesn't.
So you took the diploma in organic skincare formulation. How long did it take you to complete?
Well, it was so much more efficient when I was just doing that than already starting to take baby steps developing the brand. I'll tell you that. They do. I say, Dave, Formula Botanica, wait until you're done. And we're all just like every little kid. You tell them not to do something, we're going to do it. And very likely, if you're watching this, you're going to do it. And then you're going to understand why Mama knows best. And that happened. So it took me a little bit over a year. Again, like you mentioned, I'm a stay-at-home mother. When I could fit in my time, it was great. As the school grew, there were more wait time to wait or each one of the phases testing to pass to the next module because we needed to know the grading. So that was helpful to hold our horses and just be a little bit patient. But it was doable. Now, with that said, my second degree, because I launched Adélie, I have it under extension. It's soon to expire. So now I'm holding myself accountable to actually finish what I began. So again, been there and done that. So human of me.
Well, I should add that when you take our diploma in organic skincare formulation, it's typically set up for you to complete in about 100 study hours. So we've set it up in a way that, and this isn't for you, Jessie, since obviously you have graduated from, but for anyone who's watching, you should be able to complete the course quite comfortably if you study 1 day a week for 6 months. And that's roughly how we've set it up. But you have 2 years to complete it. And we find that most students manage to get through it in that time quite comfortably because it is self-study. So you are setting the pace. I have seen people work through it in a month as well, when they literally block out weeks on end and just formulate, just put their head down. And if you have that ability, then that's fantastic. But if you have a busy life, which is what most of our students have, they either work or they have a family or they have circumstances that mean they don't get to formulate that often, then those courses are absolutely right for you as well. So I have a question here actually and if you have any other questions for Jessie, please just post them in the comments box because we'd love to highlight them and chat about them. So this is a question from Madiha who says, while studying, did you formulate experiment in your kitchen? And if so, was it easy to do from home? And how often did you formulate when studying?
Wow. So yes and yes. Yes, I did begin in the kitchen like almost everybody else, but not everybody has a lab designated to practice. So yes, I did. And each module you have to formulate. So you will be formulating quite often and then perfecting it based on the grading of where you need reinforcement. I personally did start, what I started my formulation of my skincare products are today has nothing to do where it began. It evolved to a complete different product. But with that said, we all start somewhere. So yes, maybe you start with one formula in mind, like, oh, this is going to be it. And then you learn something new, and then you learn about another ingredient, and then you learn about how you can complement this ingredient with this other ingredient and enhance the performance in a specific function. And before you know, you're already reformulating and then adjusting it. So it's like an alchemist. It's always so much fun to formulate. It's like my zone, and I can easily spend a whole day just what I call playing around, tweaking a formula. So yeah, it takes time, patience, but it's just so much fun. That's my fun.
So where were you when you first started then? What did you want to make?
Oh goodness. So of course, like my mother is my first guinea pig, and then my husband. So mom kept asking me, Jessie, I need some serum that's hydrating. She has mature and on the drier side skin. And so I was formulating more like that heavier oil-based serums for her. But then I noticed that my skin was changing as I was reaching 35. I'm like, okay, I think other people would resonate with this changing. And so I changed the function of the serum from that original concept to where it's at now. And it's much more broad to work with any skin type whatsoever. So it allowed me to really differentiate in that sense.
Oh, that's exciting. And that's
Yes.
also what we tell our students to do. So thank you for the question, Madiha. We tell our students to start by using, first of all, the equipment that they typically have lying around the house.
Yes.
Now, you are going to have a lot of things at home in your kitchen that you'll be able to use, like glass bowls over a water bath, that sort of thing. And you can invest in some relatively inexpensive glass beakers. I've got some stood behind me actually here on the shelf. And, you know, you don't have to invest in a lot of big equipment, and we don't want you to either, because when you start, you might have something completely different in mind to when you finish the course. So if you invested in some major lab equipment and then suddenly decided that you didn't need it at all, obviously that would be completely pointless. So we tell you to start simple, don't invest much, and just see how it goes and see how you feel once you've completed the course. Because as Jessy said, you know, you might completely change your mind and suddenly inspiration might hit halfway through and you suddenly go, that's my business idea. That's what I'm going to do. Yes, exactly. So did you find it easy to formulate at home?
Yes, it was easy. The best part about Formula Botanica is that they tell you to keep it simple. And it's crucial to start, and you can repurpose same ingredients in different ways. And your imagination will just lead you to adapt it however you see fit. And I'm sure that many others can resonate that when you start, you want to order every single ingredient you hear about it, and you're not cautious on not ordering too much. And then you have, like me, I have a huge, what it's called, a gorilla case full of like dry herbs, which I haven't touched in quite a bit, but that they're there because you get like so excited just buying new things. And with fresh plant ingredients, they are more susceptible with their shelf life. So purposing what you already have, it's much more efficient and more eco-conscious as well. And it can go a long way. You can do so many formula with a base foundation and then adapt it as you see fit.
Yes, we tell you to keep it simple because that's exactly the right way to start. And a lot of students come to us and they want to start running before they can walk. So people write to us and they go, if I study with you, will I learn how to formulate with vitamin C? We say, well, hang on a minute. First of all, you need to learn how to make a serum and a cream and get the texture right and make sure it feels good on the skin. And then once you've perfected that and you know how to formulate, that's when you can start to layer in the more complex ingredients, if that's what you want. But saying that, we've seen some of our students do incredibly simple products that have just wowed the marketplace. One of our graduates here in the UK, who I happen to have sat here in front of me, which wasn't planned at all. In fact, I was just using their product earlier. They just have these little boosters, and you know, they're wonderful. They're just single ingredient boosters, and they sell really well at the moment. So yes, keep it simple, learn how to formulate, and then build your skills from there, because that's the best way to do it. So how did you use your formulation skills then to design the products that you're currently selling?
Oh la la. So yes. I think I started pretty much going ahead. How can I phrase this? But like I said before, I started with a base foundation, and then it just started growing and growing and growing. So both formula have 25 ingredients, and it's all active because even the carrier oils have a function that is enhanced with another ingredient that is in it. So I think that once I learned the potency, because I was targeting to make it very effective, specifically for, like, I call it evolving instead of aging, or evolving skin, because I feel it's more positive. And we need the extra. So I didn't want anything that just diluted, which is very common. So that's pretty much what it shaped it. Okay, let me stay within the safety, within thermal limits. I use as my reference the European Union guidelines for formulation. So even though I'm not registered, that was my choice to use it as a guideline. And I feel that gives not only more trust for consumers once they learn about it, but also it gives me a criteria to follow, because here in USA it's very suggestive, the criteria for compliance. So that gives it a guideline. I also wanted to launch with the organic certification, and then I just learned it was not the right move at the time to launch with it. But again, also met that criteria. So I used quite a few different concepts to make my foundation of the formula. And that helped streamline what ingredients I could incorporate, what potency could be incorporated. And in the end, created the function that I wanted, which was a one product with multi-functions that wasn't restricted to just one specific skin type, quote unquote. So it was an evolving, changing formula, and then tweaking how to complement the aromas of the raw plant oils and the critical extracts and the essential oils. Then I also did a focus group with over 30 women, different ages from 25 to 65, of multiple different ethnicities and in ages, and that helped revalidate that yes, the formula was distinctive. There were some big names that were actually compared with my product. I'm like, ooh, fancy. I can see myself fitting in. I'm like, I already knew. But it's validation to hear other person who has no idea what was the product name, and they were just willing to give the raw feedback and see the performance from a very short-term use and see the results. So that helped to tweak out the aroma specifically, because there were some brands that kept on repeating as a comparison. I'm like, no. I need to find the Adélie scent. So I had to tweak that. So in the initial state, I took a good chunk of time on research and development and beta testing to get that feedback, do the proper adjustment. And after a point, you just start perfecting it and you put it out there. Like, this is it. Either you love it or maybe next time.
Yeah. That's the way to do it, isn't it?
Yes.
One of my colleagues was at a show recently, and she met someone who had this amazing cream, and she tested this cream and she said, wow, it feels amazing. This woman said, that is the 99th iteration of the cream. That's how many iterations it's gone through before I could actually sell it to you. And that, that's so overwhelming to hear, because on one hand you think, my goodness, it doesn't mean that you formulate and it's immediately good to go. It means that you really have to perfect and learn how to formulate and go through trial and error. And but it's a growth experience, and it's a fun experience, because formulating is a lot of fun. Which is why I think a lot of our students love going through that process of perfecting it. But you're quite right. Done is good enough. And there does come a point that you have to say, I'm sending my babies out into the world now.
There's so much protecting you can do.
Yes, exactly. So whilst you were learning how to formulate, which ingredients did you love as you started to experiment with them? And did any of those make it into your finished product?
Oh, yes. Tamanu, Faraha, however you want to call it. I love the raw scent of it. And I know that's one that it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And some people either love the scent, the raw scent, or not necessarily love it. I so happen to really enjoy the really raw scent of plant oils. So that one specific was super, super, it's in both formulas. It's just like, it has to be there. There cannot be a serum or anything without Tamanu. It has to be there. It's that amazing. It just has to be there. So that was one. What other? There are different actives also that I enjoyed, but then on my day serum, I have blackberry seed oil that is organic, and that was a huge challenge to source. Mm-hmm. Finding organic, unrefined, and accessibility as a startup company to order small units and not depend on a distributor all the time. I went ahead and just, if there's luxury, I went ahead and did this, like all the way up here. I'm like, if I'm going to stand out, this is the Jessy touch. I just overdo it. So I just went ahead. I'm like, yeah, no. It's not only the same ingredient. You're going to sense the difference because of the quality behind it and the ethics behind the product as well. So blackberry, what other ingredient? There's quite a few, but I know, like, top of my head, Tamanu, that's
your signature ingredient, is it?
Yes, I love it. And camelina Is it camelina? Yeah, camelina, which is not camellia, camelina. I love the scent. It's like fresh cut grass. It just reminds me of just playing in the yard as a kid. I'm like, I love it.
So how did you fit the formulating in with your life? You know,
With my life.
A busy mother, you know, you've got a lot of things going on. How did you find the time to formulate?
So I do micro batches. So once I sell out, then I do a new restock. So I made enough that it's not too many units for me to keep this, you know, and the integrity of the shelf life of that batch. I do have a refrigerator because I'm in Florida and I cannot play around with weather changing or the electricity being out. So everything is stored in the same temperature. So that has helped also to keep the shelf life at pause for a good time. But keeping the micro batches has been instrumental to, when I dedicate my time to do the formulating, then it's not part of my weekly basis. I know that once I grow further, then again, it's about planning. I envision myself to have, this is the week for formulating, this is the week for, I don't know, wholesale fulfillment, etc. It's just a matter of each phase adapting. It's a constant adaptation. So that's where I'm at right now, and it's been working.
That's brilliant. And you know, that's exactly the way to go about it, isn't it? You have to sort of compartmentalize it, because at the moment you're wearing every hat in the business, I presume.
Right.
So where do you see Adélie going? What are the future plans?
Oh my goodness. So my next goal is to actually start joining partnership with a small higher end green beauty retailers here in USA. I do want to continue hosting more in-person events, like on my own with Adélie and other collaborating, complementing concept with that's more wellness related. I do have another project in the works, which I'm hoping to launch later on by end of this year, because, you know, being busy, why not add more stuff into the plate? I love talking, and it has to do with talking. So I feel that it would just be very natural for me to, again, grow awareness and also continue making other connections and expand the reach of Adélie. So that's meant. I really enjoyed that. Again, I'm a very people's person. So anywhere that I see that it's a good fit for me and that it's aligned with Adélie's values, you can count me in. So if you're out there watching, I'm here.
Well, I have out there people coming your way, because you are so incredibly out there, and I think your brand will shine because of it. So I have lots of, well, I expect to see lots of amazing things from Adélie. So guys, if you have any questions for Jessie or for me while we're here, please post them up. I can see you all watching, so please do post up questions, because we'd love to hear them and we'd love to be able to chat with you. So the one thing I just wanted to touch on as well was you talked about compliance and about that you chose the European Union in order to determine your dermal limits and to make sure that you were in compliance with the law. And I just wanted to say that that's also how we teach at Formula Botanica, because of course we have students in currently 145 countries, I think it is. I haven't gone through the country list for today, but I think there were 1 or 2 new ones on there. And that means that obviously there are cosmetic laws from all over the world coming together. So we decided to take the highest level one and basically challenge all of our students to comply with it. Because of course, if you're selling abroad or if you're selling internationally several years from now, then you have to make sure that you're already in compliance with that highest level as soon as you start. So that's how we've set up the courses, and that's how we challenge all of our students to work. And if you want to know more about cosmetic compliance, actually, we have a free podcast that's still available. So if you head over to our website, head over to our podcast, I think it was episode 3. So go and check that one out, in which we talk about how to comply with the law. Oh, in the sunshine here, I'm starting to melt. So, yeah, basically, what advice would you give to skincare entrepreneurs or people who want to become a skincare entrepreneur? What advice would you have for them?
Based on my experience, I would say, and you hear it over and over, first identify your niche, but align yourself with somebody who already has experience to create that brand strategy with you. I did my formulation, of course, finish your formulation, do your proper laboratory testing, depending what kind of formula you're doing. And that's something that, again, you're going to learn on which kind of testing to perform within the courses. That was instrumental to have the formula. But then like my next step would have been, okay, work with a brand strategist that it's already familiar, which you're going to notice it's just a handful. Not everybody is familiar with indie beauty, botanical skincare, as you're going to very likely incline towards for your brand. Then I would go ahead and work with, again, an experienced graphic designer that's familiar with startup indie beauty brands. And I resonate this over and over because there are many other brands that are graphic designers but lack the understanding of our industry, of our demographic. And the green beauty industry, depending on the social group and your targeted audience, has major variation than just mainstream. So one same message is not going to translate to that same audience. And that's going to be, unfortunately, wasted time, wasted money, and wasted effort. And your time is precious, and their time is precious as well. So for a successful relationship, it takes time to invest that time to investigate, look for referrals of other trusted. That's something very peculiar that I would say. In Formula Botanica, like you mentioned, our classroom, it feels like more of a community than any competition. If anybody has a question, it's very distinctive within our industry. It's not common practice to support each other. And that is so different about Formula Botanica. And the same way that we support each other as students, Formula Botanica supports you. I mean, look at me over here. You guys reached out to me and I didn't even know. I'm like, oh my goodness, me? Out of everybody else how many students you have now? Over 4,000, 5,000? Where are we at now?
We're almost at 7,000 actually.
There you go. I'm so outdated now. So imagine like out of 7,000 other students, I was selected to be sitting here today with you, and Formula Botanica reached out to me, and you guys do an amazing job, Formula Botanica, on keeping in touch with us, being accessible and approachable, and always be of a support, not only to provide us a skill set, but guide us and be there for us, which is very, very unique. So I would say, yeah, you have to hear that. We need all that.
Well, we've got a few more questions in, so let's highlight a few of these. Let's see. Let me see if I can highlight this one. This is from Daniela. She says, I am passionate about natural cosmetics, but I'm hesitant to launch myself into this because I'm telling myself that not coming from a chemistry or cosmetic background is a big obstacle. How difficult was it to launch yourself into this niche that is so overly saturated? What do you think?
Nobody else is you. So there's always room for you. I am not a cosmetic chemist. I'm an organic skincare formulator, and that is my specialty, and that is my niche. So understanding that and embracing that will give you that value yourself, and you'll be much more capable to understand and differentiate yourself in the industry. There's not that many organic skincare formulator and brand founders. And that's a big, big misconception that you'll see on marketing and advertisement from other green beauty industry and non-beauty industry brands that will have this messaging. But then when you go ahead and ask them the nitty-gritty questions on the how, that's when you'll hear the crickets. So understanding what you are creating, what you create, you own. And that's the big thing. Even should you choose to work with outsourcing your formula or do it yourself, like I did in my case, that is your choice. And understanding that you do have the qualification. It is a world accredited school. So it is not a random course that somebody, no qualification, no accreditation, and just leaving you at a goodwill. because there are other schools out there that I keep on hearing. I'm like, well, I don't see anybody like Lorraine attending expos and events and speaking engagement and staying updated on sustainability, on practices, on ingredients and regulations. That's what really stands out from Formula Botanica. And I'm a little bit of a nerd in that sense. And I appreciate to see that the school that I selected to educate myself, really, it's always expanding the reach and actually giving us the recognition by example. So yes, there is room for you. And Formula Botanica is the place. Like, don't look anywhere. You'll see the other brands, and you'll see many other brands. We are like I feel like the next trend in green beauty are Formula Botanica graduates just taking over. Like, okay, the other generation had their time. We're next now, baby.
I love it.
Yes.
Well, and just to add to that, you don't have to be a chemist to be a formulator. In fact, we recorded a whole podcast on this. I'm having the sunshine.
Such a good podcast. I did hear that one. Such a good one. Yes, I'm almost there. Listen to other podcasts, especially the first 3 ones and the one about the cosmetic chemist, and you'll have plenty of aha moments.
You don't need to be a chemist to be a formulator. And in fact, some of the best formulations I've ever seen on the market have not come from chemists. They've come from our students and graduates.
There you
go. That's exciting to see, actually, because there's a real difference between being a chemist and being a formulator. So go and check out that podcast. It's on our website. If you go to our blog, or if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a link to our podcast. So go and check it out. Right. I've got a few more questions here. I'm just going to shield myself from this one.
Please do.
Let's see. Zika says, are there any modules that cover face and body wash with natural surfactants? Well, I can say that one, or do you want to answer it?
Yes.
Exactly. There are. We teach how to formulate with natural surfactants, because obviously that is an important part of learning how to formulate. That doesn't mean that you have to make products with surfactants, because they are generally naturally derived, and that may not fit with your ethos of what natural means to you, but we do teach how to work with it. Let's see, what have we got? Hi, Jessie. Did you also read any books while doing research other than the Formula Botanica course? Have you got any recommendations?
Yes, the Robert Tisserand Safety on Essential Oils is like a Bible.
Yeah.
All my respects, it's just an expression. But it's pretty much like the first book to understand essential oils and their safety. And there's always essential oils that you're going to learn about it. They're not yet there in that book. Yes, I do have my stash of books, and I always go back to them because I'm always learning. And I'm very humble to say I dislike the title of expert because I don't have all the answers. I like to stay humble. I know that what one research may show today as amazing, there could always be a counterpart or an updated version to still, so keeping an open mind to interpret and make your own opinion will be crucial. But yes, there are plenty of books, and they're like there's a certain books are like foundation, but if there's one right away that I should tell you is make the investment for the Robert Tisserand Essential Oil Safety book. It's a must for anyone who's formulating with essential oils, including the formula.
Absolutely. And here's another question. What outside reading did you do? So you've already answered that one. We provide you with a reading list when you join Formula Botanica. Now, saying that, you don't need to invest in a lot of books in order to learn how to formulate, but there are some key ones that are great. So Jessie mentioned the Robert Tisserand book, which is a fantastic book. It's quite expensive, but there's a reason for that, because it is very, very good, and you will keep referring back to it. I keep referring back to it. Everyone who works in the cosmetic science, at least the organic cosmetic science industry, will constantly refer to it. And there are a couple of other great ones like Power of the Seed by Susan M. Parker. There was a new one that came out last year by Modern Cosmetics, which
I've heard of it
at the moment, but it's a really, really good book. It has it's got a large ingredients directory effectively in there. But we provide you with a lot of things like that in the course as well. So we give you a dermal limits guide for essential oils. We give you a carrier oils handbook. We give you a very large ingredients directory with over 150 ingredients in it, which contain all sorts of information about those ingredients. So let's have a look. Have you, oh, here's a question from Luciana. She says, did you work with an advisor in the industry before opening up your skincare brand officially?
Formula Botanica gave me all the knowledge I needed of what steps were required for me to fulfill. The best part of Formula Botanica is that they give you the foundation of how to create your product, but you have complete ownership and creative room to make your own formula. They give you a foundation. So some people think that, well, I'll take the course and I right away make an amazing product that is so me. Yes, you can, but it's not going to come from Formula Botanica. It's going to come from the teaching and your adaptation on your own taste. So no, I did not pay a cosmetic. There's a name for it. No, I did not pay anybody else. I've done all the effort myself. I looked for a lawyer office to do my trademark registration with Jessy Furniel's trademark here in USA, the mark, the name, and my product's names. It takes loads of patience, and I did my own research, like I mentioned before, on graphic designer that specifically fitted. And also, you need to feel a person if you click or not. It could be an amazing person that has worked with another company that you admire, and trust me, you're going to get a lot of disappointment, and it's fine. But no advisor needed. Formula Botanica gives you the foundation of what is it that you need to do all on your own. So just have loads of patience with yourself and just know that things that are out of your control, it's completely out of your control.
And have fun with it, because it takes time to formulate. Takes time. But it's a really empowering skill. And once you know it, then, you know, the world is your oyster effectively, because as Jessy said, you can then go and create something that is truly your own and truly unique, which is why we don't teach recipes. You do get some sample formulations that you can follow, but we don't tell you, you have to make this in order to be successful. We show you how to formulate, and then you can create your own version with the ingredients that you feel passionate about. Like Jessy was just talking about the ingredients that she feels passionate about. And that
all the babies, all of them. Exactly. I'm passionate about everything that's in there. No preference. But the Tamano, it's a little bit of a special child.
That is amazing, you know, because you found something that really sings to you, and that will style your brand. It will be the one signature ingredient that you will talk passionately about to everyone. And that's what will set your brand apart. Let's see, we've got a question here from Lise, who says, will I need to import ingredients? How do you feel about that?
I do import some ingredients. In fact, I do work with a specific supplier that leads a women co-op in Southern Africa by providing them fair wages of harvesting seeds of the marula. Although the marula, I think they're now having it in their own farm. Baobab, and there's a third one, and I feel so bad right now, and I remember it's top of my head. But that Southern Africa's supplier has their own factory, and just knowing that they're providing fair wages for women to have economic independence, that right away made it like, okay, rather than getting those specific ingredients from any other supplier, I'm going to work with them. And they're based out of here in USA. So they have their plant, they collect the seed, press it, laboratory tested, certified, and then I can source it from them as well. The big thing is, again, I say it again, not every amazing supplier is going to work with you at the beginning, because the minimum orders are too much to start with. So you are going to find your people, your supplier that resonates with you and your company and that understands your startup needs. And another thing is that attending industry-related events, I did attend it in New York City twice with another Formula Botanica friend and Shelly from Kiss Kiss Goodnight. Yes, I adore Shelly. So we met through Formula Botanica, and we knew we were both in the same state, and we created this special friendship, and we've sort of launched roughly a year apart. Yeah. So we both attended the New York Society of Cosmetics Chemists event 2 years consecutively. This last year I did it because I was moving out of Maryland. And that was very helpful to actually in person discover a new supplier, reach out to the existing suppliers we had initial conversation. Well, getting those samples for the initial formula plane and understanding and building those relationships and seeing what new ingredients they're bringing into market. Again, you have to stay active. It's not just stay home, create a brand, and the brand is going to grow. You really need to be involved and run the business from the heart. In my case, it's what really going to push you forward, because it is extremely challenging, but it's possible. Once you see a client that resonates with you, like, wow, oh, all this effort was for you, for this one person. And the same way you find that one person, it's going to find another one. So staying active is going to make everything much easier to be discovered, for your brand to be discovered as well.
Yes, it's all about the passion.
Yes.
I watched one of our graduates send out an email earlier today in which she showed before and after photos of one of her clients who'd used her products. And
yes,
it was so heartwarming to watch. And she was obviously super passionate about it, because she was going, look at what my products did to this person. They made their skin so amazing. And that's exactly how you have to feel when you're a formulator as well, because you care so much. They're your babies,
yes.
like you said. So I think we've covered most of the questions. Oh, and we've almost done a full hour, would you believe?
Oh, wow.
I know. It goes so quickly.
And the fan is still holding on.
I'm shielding from the sun here. So I'm going to round off by talking a little bit about Formula Botanica, as you're all still watching, and I know that a lot of people will be watching the replay as well. So thank you very much for joining us for this. So Formula Botanica's term time is currently open, and it will be open until July 9th. So we've only got, well, it's the 2nd today. We've got a week, basically. And we do this because we want all of our students to start at the same time so they can work through their courses together. I'm still hiding here under my fan. And so we've got 10 courses that are currently open for enrollment. And as I said, we've already enrolled hundreds of people today, because all of these people see an opportunity to change their life through organic skincare. And changing your life through organic skincare is a really empowering and amazing thing. And Jessy's done it. I've done it. Hundreds, if not thousands of people in our community have done it successfully. And they are building brands, they're learning how to formulate, and they are empowering themselves with new skills. So if you want to join our amazing community, and it really is an amazing community, because you get to meet people like Jessy in there who are so passionate and have so much knowledge and experience, and they just care so much about being in green and natural beauty, that in itself is priceless. And then on top of that, obviously, we have our award-winning courses. So we have won awards for the quality of our teaching. Our courses, our school is accredited by the UK's Open and Distance Learning Quality Council. I get to, travel around the world speaking at events, because Formula Botanica is basically setting the benchmark and leading the global green beauty movement. So I hope that you'll be joining us as well in the coming week. And yes, thank you very much for tuning in for this live stream. If you have any questions, our very helpful admissions team is currently working pretty much around the clock. Elisiani just posted up, actually. She's our help desk manager. They're there, they're answering literally thousands of emails. So if you want to get in touch, write to us at hello@formulabotanica.com, and come and check out our website at formulabotanica.com as well, because we've got all the course syllabus on there, all the information about how much the courses cost, how long they'll take to complete. We've got a massive help center filled with questions and answers. So come and check them all out as well, because I'm fairly sure that we have an answer to your question if we haven't answered it in today's live stream. Thank you so much, Jessy. It's been such a pleasure talking to you today.
It's been so much fun. Thank you so much. If anybody needs to reach out to me, I'm an open book. You can find me exactly. I love helping others. It just makes me feel good. So yeah. So where can they find you if someone wants to follow your amazing brand? Yes. Well, they can find me here on Facebook. It's Adélie, Adelie, Skin. And same on Instagram, which I'm usually more active. And otherwise, our website is adelieskin.com. You can always reach out on the contact. Yes. Yes, check it out and go and buy one of Jessy's products so you can see how amazing they are on your skin as well. Yes. May that inspire you to join Formula Botanica. Hint, hint. Exactly. And also inspire you to support more green beauty artisans like Jessy. Thank you.
community together. So thank you very much. Thank you for attending. I hope we answered your question. I'm seeing some more comments pop in. Someone from Zimbabwe said, loving this, interested to know more. So thank you very much for joining us. And yes, if you have any questions, drop us a line, formulabotanica.com, hello@formulabotanica.com, and come and follow us on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or LinkedIn if you're not following us there yet, because we are active all across the board. So thanks so much, Jessie, and we'll be seeing you all soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.